Now, this video isn't necessarily on chapter 314 of the manga, it's more of a video that leads into this chapter and a question I'm sure everyone is going to be asking before and after the release of chapter 314 of the manga. I never thought I would ever have to ask this question to myself, but is that man Deku getting too strong? Now, before we get into this video, I just want to quickly get the idea of Deku being a quote-unquote boring character, out of everybody's minds, because it's just not true at all. Everything Deku has done up until this point is what makes his departure so much more impactful. And I know Deku cried a lot and overall wasn't your typical super strong, super confident main protagonist, but I had and really respected Deku for was always having a drive and a goal in mind, and not just the whole #1 hero goal, but he had mini goals that would help him reach his grand goal. Like, for example, he wanted to first know how to protect himself and learn how to use his power before going into protecting his friends, then going into protecting civilians. And although he never specified these quote-unquote mini goals, it was very clear he had to go through multiple stages before he could actually somewhat focus on his grand goal. And even now, currently in the manga, the reason he left UA wasn't just for the sake of it, but it was to protect the people around him. And this aspect of Deku, to me, made him at the very least an alright and solid protagonist. He's not the second coming of Christ or anything, but he certainly isn't a boring character. But now that's out of the way, make sure you leave a like on the video, because why not? It helps out, the video just, get recommended to others, and it's quick and easy. Why wouldn't you? But apart from that, let's just get into why many people might think Deku is too strong. Now, before I actually somewhat come to a final verdict on, whether or not Deku is overpowered, I just want to go over just how many abilities Deku has, at the moment in the series. Now, first of all, Deku possesses One For All, which I'm sure we all know what One For All is, but just in case you forgot, One For All is a unique quirk that can only be passed down and allows the user to stockpile enormous amounts of energy and power, and that results in having crazy amount of strength, speed, stamina, and durability. And we all know that currently, if I'm not mistaken, Deku can use up to like 45 to 50% of One For All's power without, breaking all of his fucking bones, which is obviously a big difference to the start of the series when he had to settle with just about 5% of One For All's power. And as we all know, One For All is a stockpile quirk, meaning the previous users of One For All's quirks also get added to like the catalog of quirks in this quirk. That's very weird to say, and this concept at face value may seem really confusing, but trust me, it's actually not as much as a brain fuck as you think. But that leads us onto Deku's next quirk, which is Far-Jin, and this is actually the quirk Deku used most recently, showcased in chapter 313 of the manga, and this is actually the third user's quirk, which is pretty interesting. And this quirk, according to the My Hero Academia wiki, allows Deku to build up kinetic energy and release it later on. And for those who failed science, kinetic energy is energy that an object has by moving and is mainly dissipated as thermal energy. But let's move away from the sciencey stuff and get back on topic. To be completely honest, I would say this quirk is quite powerful, especially due to the fact that Deku has One For All that enhances his speed and allows him to move very quickly, which would in turn make this quirk Far-Jin very useful and honestly quite powerful. And as we saw in chapter 313, Deku was able to use this quirk in a very explosive fashion. I would say Far-Jin has a much more explosive nature than One For All, due to the fact that One For All also focuses on other aspects like power, agility, endurance, etc., which I feel like at least doesn't make Far-Jin completely useless. Now, Deku's next quirk is Danger Sense. This quirk is the fourth user's quirk. I'm sure this quirk was definitely inspired by, Spider-Man's Spidey Sense, which I found pretty cool. But this quirk, as I'm sure you can tell by the name of the quirk, allows Deku to sense nearby danger. And let's all be honest, this quirk is obviously very, very useful. And you can never go wrong with something like this, especially when it comes to heroes, and specifically in my hero's case, quirks. The next quirk we will be looking at is Black Whip. Now, Black Whip is the fifth user's quirk, and this quirk pretty much allows Deku to just create or conjure black whips made up of some sort of energy and use them for various different things, such as saving multiple people at once, swinging around to increase his momentum and speed. And this quirk is, in my opinion, increases his versatility and overall maneuverability, which is always good, of course, and just adds to the catalogue of Deku's many quirks. But no, we're not done yet. Deku has another quirk which goes by the name of Smokescreen, which is actually the 6th user's quirk, and Smokescreen, as I'm sure you can tell by the fucking name of the quirk, allows Deku to create smokescreens that can spread to various different distances, and I'm sure as he trains this quirk more, he can reach even further distances than he can now, which also increases Deku's versatility. Now, the final quirk Deku possesses is Nanoshimura's quirk, which is Float, and this quirk, you guessed it, it allows Deku to float in midair, nothing too special. Now, Deku also has various quote-unquote smashes, which are Detroit Smash, Delaware Smash, and he also has One for All Full Cow, which basically allows him to access a certain percentage of One for All and use it. For example, at the moment, Deku can use up to 45% of One for All, so he could instead use 30% if he wanted to, or 15%. That is what Full Cowl is. Now that we have gone over Deku's various quirks and talked about them a little bit, it's time to answer the question of the video, which is Deku too strong? And my answer to that question is yes. Deku is definitely very overpowered, and for good reason. He has to soon fight a full power Shigaraki and take him down once and for all, and he's the only one that can do that. I don't know about you guys, but that is a lot of responsibility on Deku's shoulders, and at the moment we don't really have time to train since All For One is, on the move and on the hunt for Deku. Horikoshi has made Deku stronger in what seemed like a very short amount of time because of how strong he made Shigaraki. And also, you have to bear in mind, Horikoshi also decided to let the Tartarus prisoners escape. And do you really think Deku would have been able to beat Muscular without Black Whip, Danger Sense, Float, etc.? Of course not, but now that he seems to have a good amount of control of these quirks in such a short time, allows Deku to be able to handle with these villains without spending too long on them and slowing down the overall pace of the story. Because at the moment we are expecting Shigaraki and Deku to have some sort of short encounter before the eventual final war that will happen with the heroes and the villains. And with that being said, my final answer to the question of this video is yes, he is too strong, but for a very, very good reason, because he has to fight Shigaraki. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on and set to all. And apart from that, I will see you in my next video. And make sure you share this video to your family, your friends, your uncle, I don't know, your dog, because if you do, then I'll show up outside your house and give you some goodies. But yeah, I'm done for now, for real. Peace.